home. If we take it right back to the beginning, I was born in Lithuania, and then my parents came here when I was 4, and we actually moved in with a Catholic priest, and we lived in like a sort of Catholic house, where there was like a church in the house, and the Catholic priest was really good to us. He allowed us to stay there for like £10 a week. My parents were really broke. But like, although my parents were really heavily involved in the Catholic Church, my dad was very abusive, aggressive, violent. So from the age of about 5, I decided I don't want anything to do with God. I don't want to go to church anymore. I don't think it was like connected, like consciously, but I think subconsciously I was just like, no, this is all a load of nonsense. So yeah, I stopped going to church around the age of 5. I could just stay in the bedroom or whatever. And my parents would still be quite involved. They let me do my own thing for the most part. But when I grew up, I started really hating stuff to do with God, religion. I would get really angry about it. My best friend, she believed in God, like also Catholic, but I would get really angry at her, and I'd be like, no, God doesn't exist, it's all a load of nonsense. But I think it was all the pain that I felt actually from the religious side, having always had priests around the house and stuff like that. But my father organising it all and being like a trustee of the church and everything, but then behind closed doors beating up me and my mum. And that was hard. So from a very kind of young age of about 11, I had such a hole in my heart for love, and I sort of like hopped from relationship to relationship, trying to like grab love from men because I had this hole in my heart, because of my relationship with my father, and obviously that doesn't work out too well. And I got to university. I wasn't very well academically, didn't really faze me that much, but inside I was just like completely falling apart. And I had the opportunity to go overseas when I was at university. So I went to Australia, and I chose Australia, I think subconsciously, because it was the furthest place away on the earth from my father. So I was like, right, I can finally like escape him, and I can finally like have like a new life, And at first when I got, and that's kind of like how I treated it. So when I got there, even like my best friend and stuff, for like 6 months I cut everybody off, and I didn't talk to anyone. I had a boyfriend at the time. Like, the relationship was pretty good from a worldly point of view, but I literally just cut everyone off, and I was just like, this is my new life now. Like, I'm like born again, but in a worldly way. And then, but again, it didn't work out, like, because you can't be born again in a worldly way. So I got involved in a really bad relationship. He was addicted to crystal meth and marijuana. So I ended up moving in with him, and there was like drugs around the house, and it was just crazy. Like my life was just going downwards, like even more, like even less like stability than I already had. And I was in Australia, so like far away from everybody and everything I knew. And at the time I was working in a restaurant, and this Christian came in, and he was like, oh, I've seen how you work here, I think you're like really good, I want you to come and work for my business that I'm starting up. And then I was like, okay, because I kind of wanted to leave the restaurant anyway. And then on the day that I was meant to meet him and his business partner, my boyfriend at the time, like pulled out a kitchen knife on me and like waved it like near my face. So then I was just like, okay. So I was in floods of tears. I couldn't go anywhere. I just called him up and I just like basically was honest with him. I just basically said, look, my boyfriend's just pulled a knife out on me. I don't know what to do. And he said, do you know what, like, it's not safe for you to be there. I've like dealt with this kind of situation a lot in the past. He'd helped like domestic violence victims. So he was like, pack up all your stuff, I'm like coming to get you. And I was like, okay. So I just started packing my stuff, and then he came and he, bearing in mind I was a total atheist, like really, really not interested at all. He came, and I remember him pulling up at my place in Australia, and he came in this van, and spray painted all over this van was like, Jesus loves you, and like stuff like this. And I looked at it and I was like, who on earth is this weirdo? Like, I was just like, oh my goodness, like it just gets worse basically, like nutter to nutter sort of thing. And then but the thing is, he was the only person that was around to help, so I was like, okay, whatever, like I'm just gonna have to like let that go. And you know, he packed up all my stuff, and then he was like, oh, do you want to come move in with me and my wife? We live on a boat. I was like, no, I don't know who you are. So I did actually end up eventually moving in with him and his wife actually once I got to know them and became a Christian for a short time before I left Australia. But anyway, I was like, no. And then so I found a room on Gumtree quickly, just on my phone, and then he helped me sort of move in. And then over the next sort of 2 weeks before I started working for him, he was showing me this kind of like care that I'd never seen. Like he came to like drop some food off. I like didn't have a car, so he was like, let me take you food shopping and stuff. And I was like, who is this guy? And like sometimes I wouldn't even answer the door. Like sometimes he would just like be knocking. I was like, who is this weirdo? Go away. And like he'd just like leave like food like outside the door and stuff. I was like, it's a freak. Like I'd never experienced anything like it. But then, yeah, so one time he was round, I must have just let him in for some reason, and he was in the kitchen, and he started sharing his testimony with me that he was like radically born again when he went overseas to study in Canada, when he was about 21 as well. I was 21. And he was sharing his testimony with me, and he'd seen loads of miracles, loads of like super